Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sketch to Sea. In the last episode, we left off here, with a hull that's technically able to float. In this episode, we get to about here. It might not look like a ton of work, but trust me it is. So stay tuned, and make sure you don't miss a step. Okay, here we are again. Just a reminder, if you have not already watched the other construction updates, then we would love you to go back and do that now. I will put a link in the video for that playlist, and it will also be there at the end. There's lots of interesting stuff to see as I go into detail on the construction of our custom 88-foot yacht. And make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end of this episode to see some of the items that will be covered in the next construction update. Now that that's out of the way, here's where we left off. We had just fit the outer hull pieces onto the construction dig after all the main structural bulkheads had been installed. Technically, this means we have a hull that's able to float. So, what's next? Remember this diagram? These are the remaining steps, and then we are onto an entirely different diagram as we move vertically through the construction of our overall yacht. But I'm jumping ahead a bit. Prior to installing the outer hull pieces on the jig, we had to bond the outer hull stringers onto the hulls. That's this step in this diagram. And here it is actually happening. Once that was complete, the outer hull skins were bonded to the rest of the structure. You can't really see these stringers once the hulls are bonded, so that's why I wanted to make sure I showed it to you here. The next step was to insert all of the smaller interior bulkheads as shown here. There are quite a few of these, and they go both in the port and starboard hulls to create the interior living spaces. In this image, you can see all of those smaller interior bulkheads being infused with epoxy resin. Once infusion is complete, then the vacuum bagging is removed and they are pulled off the table and ready to be installed. Following that was the addition of the hull centerline stringer that runs the entire length from bow to stern of each hull. These two stages set us up for the next phase, which is the installation of the cabin sole or floor. Installation of the cabin sole is the final step in this diagram as seen here. And here are all of the cabin soles fabricated and ready to be installed. Please note that all of this is being done out of carbon foam sandwich construction. We aren't going to skip ahead to that quite yet, though, or you would miss all the fun of what actually goes into the bilge section. The bilge of any yacht is very important space that can't be overlooked. After all, it houses most of the operational and support systems of the vessel. The systems housed here are responsible for your electrical distribution, hot and cold domestic water distribution, gray and black water storage, freshwater storage, and diesel fuel storage, not to mention the propulsion and steering systems. The installation process for these systems is more efficient if the sole has not been installed yet, as the sole will only hinder access to the bilge. Here are a few images of the bilge and its different systems being installed. There are two items worth noting in these images: how neatly coiled the wiring is as it's being run, and the second are the little white tabs in the top of the image. These tabs are where the domestic hot water lines will be secured. They run the entire length of the yacht, in both hulls, and up into the flybridge. Something worth noting with regards to our domestic hot water is we have two 40-gallon heater tanks, one in each hull, both hooked up to a central line that consistently recirculates water. This is a heat-insulated line. For us, this means that we will have continuous access to hot water on demand. When the yacht is on charter, both tanks will likely be on. But not chartered, we should be able to operate with just one tank active. We carefully engineered the yacht's battery bank and solar to be able to run all the house systems without having a generator on. You can see the HH team's attention to detail in these images as the systems are being installed. All of the water lines are clearly identified and fastened at regular intervals. All of the electrical lines are fastened to the structure and zip tied together at regular intervals. I will point out that everywhere any one of these lines pass through the structural bulkheads, there are two additional steps taken for safety. The first is that there's a gasket or grommet installed to prevent any potential chafing. And the second is that there is an extra bit of carbon installed to reinforce the structure where the hole was cut out. It's the little steps like this that make the HH difference. As I noted in a previous episode, there are many things that are happening in different areas of the facility. Here are some of the other items that are being constructed as this work continues on the main jig. We have built the mold and completed the CNC finishing for the main cabin top. Both aft deck molds have been built and are awaiting their turn in the CNC machine. All the integral tanks have been pressure tested. The anchoring reinforcement has been installed. Transverse mullion molds have been made. Longitudinal mullions have been slotted into the structural bulkheads. The bimini top mold has begun. So much is being done, and I have to tell you that we look forward to every progress report with bated breath. I've packed a fair bit into this episode, so I think it's a good place to press pause. This brings you up to December 2020, and believe me, there's lots more to look forward to. If you have not already, please like, subscribe, and share. A little click from you goes a long way for us. And please check out some of the other aspects of the channel, like the interviews. As always, you can reach out to me directly at sketchtosea@gmail.com, and please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.